Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of our program. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we have with us Sally Poblete with Wellthie. Sally, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Mike. I'm very happy to be here.
Hey, so tell us a little bit about your background and what is Wellthie?
Sure thing. So, I am a former insurance executive from one of the largest insurance carriers in the country, and I was working there and leading different aspects of working with the business community for about 8 years. I'm also a licensed insurance broker and also have a long background in being a small business owner. So all three of those experiences combined, Mike, I realized that the process of finding and understanding and buying coverage, both as a small business owner and as an individual, is really quite complicated and stressful for many people. So I decided to start a company leveraging great technology and design and a focus on education to help make the process better and simpler for people.
Well, that's quite a mouthful and quite an undertaking because as we know these days, the Affordable Health Care Act is not quite affordable as what they like us to think, and it's super confusing. So what's your first step when you started your venture to make things a little bit easier? And then, of course, affordability might not be anything you can control, but maybe navigating through the process, helps some of that out a lot.
Sure thing. So I think a few first things first, obviously, is to really understand the financial incentives and the opportunities that the Affordable Care Act offers for both individuals and small businesses, to understand that and how that has been implemented across different states so that we can really guide people to all of those, again, financial assistance as well as penalties that is available through the Affordable Care Act. I think the next thing we did was really to talk to consumers and small businesses and understand, to your point, still the most important factor in making a decision is this something I can afford? And how do I balance my budget given that this is an expensive, a high dollar amount out of a person or a business's budget, and really learn about their pain points. And then third is working with really talented designers who are user experience experts, people who are focused on healthcare literacy, and technologists on our team to then craft holistic and simple experiences on the web to guide both consumers and businesses through the process of finding their best, most affordable insurance for them. And I'll also say a very important part here that our model assumes that the brokers, who are these expert, trusted professionals in the industry, continue to work with the individuals and the small businesses. So we help them to make the process better, simpler, to sell insurance to their customers.
Mm. And, you mentioned a word that's kind of scary to people, technology, and you get some of these reports from different states that have rolled out their platforms and, the whole thing implodes and whatnot. So I'm sure that's quite the undertaking to make sure that's available to your platform.
Yeah, sure. I mean, certainly working with the government is not an easy task, but we also think about technology in the same way that you and I and many of the listeners in your podcast use technology every day. We all shop online for various products. We, buy tickets, make restaurant reservations, buy on Amazon, all of those things. And what we're doing, Mike, is taking the very common, very simple experiences that you and I are used to and bringing and infusing that into health insurance, which again is not an easy task given the complexity of insurance, but that's first and foremost what we're trying to accomplish and bring that simplicity to our industry.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the small business tax credit on small group plans, because I think that sometimes there's a little fuzzy, people are a little fuzzy on that aspect, because what's the numbers at 25? Is it 40? Is it 50? And what are the salary ranges? So can you speak to that a little bit and what small businesses can expect there?
Sure. So basically, if an employee, a business owner with a business of under 25 employees, and where the salary ranges of their employees are under $50,000 on average, and then they offer insurance and they contribute more than 50% to the insurance, the government, through the Affordable Care Act, basically provides for a credit on your taxes when that business owner files the taxes for the following year. So it's another way to reward and give money back to businesses who are already offering coverage. And again, if they're under 25 employees and the salaries are $50,000 or below, those are the kinds of companies that really need this, or really value this tax credit from the Affordable Care Act. So that's certainly one opportunity that many businesses should, ask their accountant and really keep in mind when they file their taxes.
Yeah, and that's a good caveat and disclaimer is you can know certain things in the industry, but you can't give that tax advice. You can speak to it and say, make sure you ask your accountant these things that might apply to your situation. So that's super smart. Do you find that some businesses, with respect to the 25 employees or the salary range, even though it might seem simple and cut and dry, there still is that confusion of, yeah, but would this apply, or how do I implement this in my business?
Yeah, it's certainly, because, every business is different, and we all know many small businesses employ part-timers and, maybe the all ranges of income levels. So yeah, absolutely. It's never quite cut and dry. So there's always that caveat, but, we can certainly so part of the software that we offer to our partners, the brokers and the carriers, is provide that, determination and that eligibility. But certainly there's other ways. The IRS also provides some tools to help figure that out. So, but I think the rules that I had mentioned about number of employees and salary, and as long as they, contribute 50% or more to the premium, those are the kind of quick guidelines to keep in mind.
Yep, that makes total sense. Do you also find that some of your customers are looking at the flexibility of being able to send their employees to this marketplace to enroll on their own? Is that a benefit, or is that something that employees might misinterpret as you're not taking care of me anymore?
Yeah, that is such a great question and really top of mind for many businesses that we talk to. So let's take a couple of steps back and kind of just talk about the market in general. So currently, among all of the small businesses, under 50 employees today, about half of them offer coverage to their employees. And then the other half of that nationwide population actually don't offer benefits to their employees at this time, because it is something that, they would very much like to do, but probably isn't in the budget, this year, or, not in the near-term future. So we know that all small businesses care about their employees. So then the question is, well, what other options are available if you care about their health care, but you can't quite afford the benefits and pay for that yourself as a business owner? So because of the Affordable Care Act, as you know, individuals can purchase insurance on their own. And as a business owner with under 50 employees, there is no penalty if you do not offer coverage to your employees. So there's no employer mandate for businesses under 50. So your employees can choose to purchase individual insurance. And if your employees, if their income is such that it is within the threshold that the government provides tax credits. So that's roughly for a single person $47,000, and for a family of 4, it's $90-some thousand. That individual may also qualify for individual tax credits, again provided by the Affordable Care Act. So that employee, if they were to buy, let's just say it's a employee of a coffee shop and they're making $35,000. If they were to buy individual coverage, they might qualify for money from the government to help offset that premium. And then they save, and then the business owner can, have the comfort of knowing that their employees have coverage, but also not really necessarily have to, contribute that money towards paying for the benefits. So that's really the idea. It isn't to, so your question is, is that taking care of your employees? Absolutely. I think it's to educate them about these opportunities to purchase individual insurance is certainly one way that a business owner can help. And as long as the employees are not penalized, and, kind of they follow the guidelines of who is eligible or not eligible for these financial assistance. And I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and I think it just gets back to positioning from a business communications standpoint. I think any change is daunting, and any employer that says, here's the new, mandate or here's the new update, if you're not explaining it the right way, it could be misinterpreted. So it just is an opportunity for that business owner to explain, how it's a freedom and a flexibility and an option and a choice rather than, goodbye, go this website and I can't be bothered with you.
Exactly, Mike. And it is helping, supporting those employees, their decisions as well. And I think that's where, honestly, the role of the broker continues to be very important, because those brokers can be that shepherd to help guide and answer questions if the individual employee or the business owner has them.
Yeah, exactly. Just there's always the upside, the downside of anything. It's just how you explain it. Hey, so can you speak to anything about discounts or opportunities to get lower rates regarding, even I know that when I set up mine, there was a Medicaid option, and if you don't want that, then you may or may not get any other subsidies. So how does some of those government subsidies work, either from the individual standpoint or the small business being able to explain those opportunities to their employees?
Sure. So first, let's just divide up the kind of the buckets. So again, if you are a business that's offering coverage to your employees, the two ways that you can get some relief or some money back or a way to get some credit is certainly the tax deductibility of your benefits, and then secondly, the small business tax credit that we talked about. So that's on the group insurance side. On the individual insurance side, if the business is under 50, there is no penalty for not offering coverage. So the business can be free to decide whatever they want to, what their strategy is. And in that regard, those individuals have a bunch of options. Number one, they can buy individual insurance, and if their income is within the minimum, which is 400% of the federal poverty level, so that's, in simple terms, that's roughly $47,000 for an individual, and again, as high as $90-some thousand for a family of 4. They can qualify for advanced premium tax credits for that family. If their income level was even lower than that, and that's there's a lower threshold, 138% of the federal poverty line, they may qualify for Medicaid, and that's different, slightly different in different states, but that's a good guideline to keep in mind. Anyone, of course, who's over 65 may qualify for Medicare. And then the other last program I want to mention is that in many states, there's a program called the Child Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, and children under 19 can, if again their parents' income are within a particular threshold, they could qualify for greatly reduced discounted rates for children, for the insurance for their children. So even if the parents may not be able to afford insurance, certainly, wanting to get the kids covered is an important step. So those are some of the ways that significant ways that the Affordable Care Act has helped bring more affordability for people. And I'll also mention that on the individual side, among all of the new people who bought insurance, about 85% of them qualified for one of these several financial programs. So it's really been a big help for many families.
Yeah, that's a good staggering number. Actually, 85% of anything on any stat is a big number. So that's good to know. And then finally, let's talk about one last piece, which still, as easy as it may sound, you might need someone to hold your hand. So can you speak to how a business or an individual, or both, can work with health insurance brokers, and what is their role in this? Because it would seem kind of like when internet banking came out, there's no need for the banks anymore. No one's going to come to the banks. Well, that obviously didn't happen. But there is the need for the bankers to help people use the technology. So I'm sure the same situation applies here with these platforms.
Yeah, and as I said earlier in the beginning, Mike, our platform actually supports and enhances the role of the insurance broker. It doesn't replace it; it enhances their role. So one of the things that one has to keep in mind is that the process of purchasing insurance is first of all quite a complicated one. I'm the first to admit it. Number two, it is a significant dollar amount, right? It isn't a cup of coffee. It isn't even a plane ticket. It's several thousand, tens of thousands of dollars for a business. So you want to really make sure that you're getting the most value for the amount of money you're paying, and that you are, picking the right plan for your employees and your family. And then I think the third thing is that throughout the year, there's a lot of support that may be needed if, there's a question about an insurance plan, or, you need to get a claim approved, and you need another expert to kind of help be the go-between between the consumer, the employee, and the insurance company. So those are some of the really important ways that the broker can help. And I would, and the services are free to a business owner or an individual. So that's how business owners can leverage, because they don't have time. They're very busy, and again, they're writing a big check to ensure that they're picking the right plans.
Yeah, that's a really good point too about the fees, and we can't speak to everything and guarantee anything, but typically working with a broker is not a cost to the business owner, and just having someone help you navigate and confirm is a nice touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But what I would advise business owners, because I am both a broker and a business owner, is really ask the broker to show you really the full set of plans out there. Really ask detailed questions about what you're buying. So for me, one of the most important things is really understanding the network of the plans that you're buying. Give them a list of the doctors and hospitals you care about, and they can help confirm the coverages. Really utilize their experts, really leverage their expertise to ask as many detailed questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question in insurance. So just certainly be diligent in the same way that I know most business owners are when they're shopping. They're really careful about using their dollars, and the same goes here. I think the other piece is that what we're trying to encourage brokers is to leverage technology to get their job done better and faster, and to really be able to model out different scenarios for the businesses. That's what we do, and that's how we help the broker. So that's how we think that the ecosystem can be made simpler and better, where we provide a simple, great, smart, and elegant technology that the business owner can use to collaborate while they shop and pick the right insurance plan.
Well, I can tell that you know what you're talking about, but from a marketing standpoint, I love those words, simple and elegant and streamlined, and all of the things that you can use to describe something that might be confusing to people. So if you want a simple and elegant solution to check into, what is the best way for people to learn more about Wellthie?
Great. Yeah. So our URL is wellthie.com, and that is spelled WELLTHIE.com. And from there, if they're a business owner, we can guide them to the right place, or if they're a broker or even insurance carrier, we can direct them to the right place. Our goal is to be available nationwide, and we're well on our way to doing that. But certainly we'd invite any of your listeners from any part of the country to come check us out, and then we'll let them know as soon as we're in their market.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and it was wonderful getting to learn more about Wellthie.
Great. Thank you so much for inviting me, Mike. It's a pleasure. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.